You're listening to 105.3, The Gerblin, Dominaria's #1 music source for generic goblin noise.
Hey gang, using the promo code MTGMudsta, one word, all caps, will get you 10% off orders of $10 or more at Flipside Gaming, Original Magic Art, and orders of singles at Multizone. If they don't have what you're looking for, you could check out TCG Player and use my affiliate link to help support the channel. Looking for a way to bling out your deck and not spend a fortune? Alter Sleeves can help with that, and you can help with the channel at the same time by using my affiliate link. Or, if you're looking to join the Goblin Gang, you can always support me through Patreon. Today's game is another one filmed with those dashing Danes, except, I kinda forgot to do the opening hands again. We have Adam playing Pako and Haldan, we have Jesper Eising playing his Tuvasa deck, we have Sander playing Breeches and Malcolm, and I'm playing Daretti. Jesper wins a die roll and starts us off. His first turn has him playing a forest and casting Miri's Guile. I draw and play a mountain, passing. Sander also plays a mountain and passes to Adam. Adam plays a Prismatic Vista, sacrificing it and losing 1 to go and find a mountain as well. On Jesper's upkeep, he uses his Miri's Guile trigger, rearranging his top 3 before drawing. He plays a Plains and then pays 2 mana for an Argothian Enchantress and passes to me. I draw, play a mountain, and pass. Sander draws and plays an island. He then taps out for a Sky Diamond, which comes in tapped, and passes. Adam also plays an island, and also taps out for an artifact, but this time it's Lightning Greaves. Jesper uses his Guile once more, rearranging his top 3, before we see him playing a Tundra on his main phase. He then casts a Mana Crypt, and then plays Sterling Grove. He draws from the Enchantress trigger, and then taps more mana for an Oratog, and passes. I play another mountain, and tapping 2 mana casts a Topper Orb, and pass. Sander untaps and plays a mountain. He brings out Breeches, and passes. Adam plays a Spire Garden as his land drop, which comes in untapped, and he casts a Rata, Heart of Keld. Once she resolves, he looks at his top card, and then equips her with the Lightning Greaves. Moving to combat, he swings her at me, connecting for 3. Jesper looks at his top 3 cards with the Miri's Guile again, and draws. He casts Abundant Growth onto his Plains, drawing first from the Enchantress trigger, and then 1 from the Growth entering. 4 mana then gets him an Academy Rector, making attacking him not all that great. He decides to just stay home as he puts it, and passes. I play a Foily Reliquary Tower, and then tap out for a Hedron Archive. Sander plays another island this turn, and taps enough mana for Malcolm. He moves to combat, going at me with Breeches. He has Menace, not that I have any blockers anyway, and I take 3, with Sander making a treasure from Malcolm, and then exiles my top card with Breeches, which he's able to cast this turn. Sadly for him, it's a Strip Mine, which he can't cast, and he just passes to Adam. Adam draws, and looks at his top card. He plays a Scalding Tarn for turn, and swings Rata at Sander, dealing 3. Jesper rolls for his Mana Crypt, and correctly calls it. He then uses his Guile again, and rearranges his top 3. He plays a Forest as his land drop, and then pays enough mana for Tuvasa. She sadly resolves after a round of priority goes around the table, and Jesper then pays 1 green for a Rancor, chanting the Oratog, getting to draw from both Tuvasa and the Enchantress. He then passes, and at the end of turn, Adam asks if I can blow up my Topper Orb, but I don't have anything in hand right now that can, and we move to my turn. I drop a Darkseal Citadel, and pay 5 for a Gilded Lotus. As I'm doing this, Adam sacrifices his Scalding Tarn, losing 1 to find a land. I then cast a Thran Temporal Gateway, and pass to Sander. Sander untaps and draws, and he plays a mountain for turn, and then pays 2 for an Electrostatic Field. 1 blue is then tapped for a Trickery Charm, which has Sander picking the mode to turn the Electrostatic Field into a pirate. First he has to resolve the field's trigger though, dealing 1 to each of his opponents. The charm then resolves, making the electrostatic field part of Sander's crew, and he then puts to stack a bonus round. This gives him another field trigger, but Adam responds using memory lapse to put bonus round on top of Sander's library. We all then take one from the field's trigger, which has Sander making 3 treasures from Malcolm, and exiling our top cards from Breeches because apparently their triggers don't require combat. Adam exiles 3 visits, I exile a Clark Clan Ironworks, and Jesper hits a Seal of Primordium. Sander then pays 2 blue for a Flood of Recollection, and he targets the Trickery Charm and gains him another trigger from his field. His opponents then each lose 1 life, with Sander making 3 more treasures and exiling our top cards again. I hit a Mountain, Adam hits Aronis, and Jesper hits Estrid's Invocation. These are sadly not great cards to keep his chain going, and Sander has to cast 3 visits knowing fully well he'll fail to find, but it keeps the field chain going, doing another 1 to his opponents, and making him 3 more treasures, and then exiling our top cards. This time I hit a Goblin Welder, Adam hits a Misty Rainforest, and Jesper hits a Seal of Cleansing. With that trigger from the field having resulted in nothing, Sander is then forced to go to combat, swinging Malcolm and Adam for 2, and Breeches at me for 3. They connect, and this makes him 2 more treasures, and he exiles Adam and my top card. I exile Bloodstained Mire, while Adam exiles Clothis. In his post-combat main phase, Sander then uses 3 treasures to cast a Nettle Drone, and then uses 1 mana to use the charm again to make the drone into a pirate. This triggers the field again, dealing 1 to his opponents, making him 3 more treasures, and once more exiling his opponent's top card. This time I hit a Mystic Forge, Adam hits a Boreal Druid, and Jesper hits a Land Tax. None of these things can give haste, and none of them are instants and sorceries, which is what he'd been hoping for. He can't keep rolling with the spells sadly, and he just decides to cast my pal Amoeboid Changeling, and then my Goblin Welder, and finally Jesper's Seal of Primordium. He asks Adam that if he pops my Torpor Orb, will they be friends, and Adam agrees. He then passes turn, doing so, and sacrificing the seal to destroy my Torpor Orb. Adam draws, and looks at his top card thanks to Rata. He plays a Forest off the top, sneaking another peek at his top card. Dockside Extortionist then comes into play, making Adam 11 treasures for only 2 mana, which seems very good. 5 of it goes into casting Pako, who gets enchanted with Rancor. Adam then moves the Greaves over onto his dog, and he heads to combat. Swinging at Jesper is not really an option with Academy Rector out, so he swings Pako at me. Before damage though, we're all forced to exile our top cards. I exile a Blood Moon, while Sander exiles Thrill of Possibility, which is very upsetting for him. Adam exiles a Siren Storm Tamer, and Jesper hits a Flickering Ward. This results in Pako gaining 3 +1/+1 counters, and I then take the hit for 8 commander damage. Adam then casts Haldan in his second main phase, and he puts the Greaves onto Haldan, and casts the Flickering Ward onto Pako. He gives Pako protection from white as it enters, and then moves the Greaves back over onto the doggy. He then taps 2 more for Thrill of Possibilities, discarding a card and drawing 2. At the end of turn, Jesper sacrifices his Sterling Grove to go and find an enchantment to put on top. He grabs Enchanted Evening and draws it for turn. Jesper then rolls for his Mana Crypt on his turn, and sadly is able to call it correctly. He then taps enough in his main phase to cast the Enchanted Evening. This turns every permanent on the field into an enchantment, which then lets him sacrifice the Academy Rector to the Aurortog, exiling the Rector as it dies. He's then able to go into his library and cheat on an enchantment, and this puts to field an Omniscience. Jesper then plays out from hand a Femraf Enchantress, a Mesa Enchantress, and then to the groan of the table, an Aura Thief. He sacrifices that to the Aurortog, which will steal all of our permanents, and at this point, we all concede the game to Jesper. Game review time. So not a whole lot that I can say about my Daretti deck. I'm pretty sure I only cast like 4 spells, 2 of which are giant mana rocks, and 2 other cards did absolutely nothing. Adam was also fairly unimpactful in this game, although at least he was able to get his commander out and do 8 commander damage with Pako. I would say the two powerhouse decks in this game were definitely Jesper's Tuvasa deck, which was a beautiful Enchantress deck, and he was able to win with one of the ways that I used to play in Zedru, which was Enchanted Evening and Aura Thief. It's probably one of the least impactful combos, since both cards cost a fair amount of mana to have out on their own, and he didn't even cheat either of them out. Saunders Malcolm and Breeches deck was beautiful. It's even a budget-friendly deck, since it only cost him about 50 to 100 USD to build. He'd based it around a thread that he found on Reddit, and my goodness did it take very little to enable this deck. I was also unaware completely that Breeches and Malcolm triggered off of any damage and not just combat. It seemed like if he'd had just even 1 or 2 more instants or sorceries that cost 1 or 2, he would have been in working order. But, unfortunately for him, he was playing against some very permanent heavy decks.